Rise up for the future, keep the river clean. Hey, tell your neighbor, tell a friend, can't let it continue again. It's our responsibility, protect the environment. A healthy river is healthy you. And Mother Nature calling out to you.
Good morning, Soufriere. Good morning to every listener. Good morning to those who are joining us on the radio, those who are following us online. Welcome once again to another show of Flowing Clean. I am your host, Nadia Cazaubon. This morning, I have a very beautiful guest joining me, and she is no stranger to Soufriere. She has been working in our region for quite a while right now, and I will be introducing her very shortly. Today, we are going to go over some of the work that we have been doing and to speak about some of the work that the St. Lucia Solid Waste Management Authority is doing. So this morning, our guest is none other than Mrs. Cristal Smith-Peter, who is the Zonal Supervisor for our region, Soufriere, as well as Canneries and Choiseul and Labrie. So join me in welcoming Mrs. Cristal Smith-Peter. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining us. So today we are going to be speaking about solid waste, garbage disposal in Soufriere, and some of the challenges that she faces, some of the things that work well, what she would like us as Soufriere residents to work on, and their role on our Soufriere River Systems Management Committee. So first question, let me just allow you to introduce yourself and to tell us about some of your responsibilities as Zonal Supervisor, what it is that it entails.
My name is Cristal Smith-Peter. I am the Zonal Supervisor for Labrie to Canneries. Some of my functions are managing waste within those areas, on conversations and communications with contractors, ensuring that the collection is being done effectively, finding solutions for infractions, illegal dumpings, and of course that includes some clerical work as well. But most importantly is managing waste during those areas and ensuring that the contractors are performing effectively.
Okay, I was just told that they're hearing you a little bit low. So our technician is going to be virtually hoping to send us some instructions on how to raise the volume or what it is that I need to do on the mixer. I am definitely not a DJ in that regard. And be careful with our chairs here. So the chair was not happy to see you. No, man, the chair is, we're happy that you are here. And I apologize for it's a rolling chair and it's very narrow. We are also going to be talking about your role on the Soufriere River Systems Management Committee. And as our listeners and viewers, those online would have heard me saying in the past couple of weeks, our committee is made up of representatives from several different organizations, and your expertise are most definitely needed on the committee because after all, the Flowing Clean project is all about reducing solid waste pollution in the Soufriere River in the hope that it is going to, or anticipating rather, that it is going to also improve the overall health of the Soufriere River, the water quality, as well as the aesthetics of the Soufriere River. Your role on the committee is to obviously provide guidance in terms of when we have to take action or if we get reports. So we will be sending some information to you. And I want to say thank you very, very much because we already had to call on you for something that happened in the Soufriere River already. For the past couple of weeks, we've been trying to deal with one situation that arose where some residents illegally dumped some household waste into the Soufriere River. And I want to say thank you very much for the action that you took to get the waste out in conjunction with the Soufriere Town Council. So let me let you speak about what it is that you had to do when anytime somebody dumps garbage illegally in any location.
Right. Anytime somebody dumps garbage illegally and it's brought to my attention, first and foremost, I would probably come in to see the gravity of the situation. There are certain situations in that regard that we cannot curtail, and that would be situations where the waste is being dumped beneath a precipice. It would be quite risky to send people down there to clean. But in the case she's speaking about, the waste was dumped in the river, basically, and with the assistance of Mr. Montoot, his workers, Mr. Montoot is a councillor from the Soufriere Town Council, and he gave his workers the permission to take it out and put it by the road. And I utilized our bulk collection day, which is the second Wednesday in Soufriere, to have that waste collected and brought to the site. Now, though the waste that was in the river was not mainly bulk waste, but this is an unusual situation. And in my case, I have to think of creative ways to mitigate some of these situations because they are so prevalent in Soufriere. And like I said, I have to find creative ways to mitigate. And this is the way that I did it. And if you realize that I'm not even doing it alone, Ms. Cazaubon, to my attention, she's one. And I am thinking now, how do I get that done? And with no resources, right? With little to no money. And then I liaise with the town council. They are always very receptive. And then, of course, my contractor would pick it up and bring it to the landfill.
So Soufriere people, Soufriere residents, the river is not a dumping ground. When you dump something illegally, it puts a strain on the staff of the St. Lucia Solid Waste Management Authority as well as the town council, who now have to risk their lives and their health to go and clean up. And there is a fine associated with that. It is not difficult for you to place your garbage out on the designated collection days. We have a day for bulk waste pickup, which is every second Wednesday
in every month
for Soufriere. So the second Wednesday of the month, leave your garbage out. Do not place it on the side of the road next to the river where you would have somebody who would decide whether it is maliciously or being bored to push it into the river. Do not place it alongside the river. That is not a dumping site. So wait until the designated day for you to put your garbage out by the road, for it to be picked up by the bulk waste service that is being offered. I do realize, though, that some of the garbage in some areas which were put out for bulk waste were not actually picked up. So I want to bring that to your attention as well, but we'll speak about that afterwards. Some items were left behind in some areas. But other than that, in terms of the general illegal dumping that's happening in the Soufriere River, is there anything that is of concern to you as the zonal supervisor for solid waste or for solid waste in general?
Any dumping is of concern to me, any illegal dumping, because that means it is something else is happening other than the proper disposal of the waste. And we know when waste is disposed into the, let's say, the gullies, the gutters, goes into the river and inevitably into the ocean, and we know that it is going to damage habitat, animals, even human. And of course, the water waste project is going on because of some of that contamination from waste being disposed in the river, because that is highly part of the reason why the water is in the state that it is there.
Yes, so any illegal dumping, of course, creates a problem, not just for the staff, like we said earlier, but also for the water quality that flows downstream from the headlands all the way down through Soufriere, all the way down through to the sea. And it is going to be impacting the water quality in the sea as well. And we do have issues with persons dumping dead animals sometimes in the Soufriere River. I want you to just briefly speak about, one, the dumping of dead animals as also the waste haulers. So when persons do have a lot of garbage, or if they're doing some construction and they need to take some garbage to the landfill, do we have any licensed, or is there a list of waste haulers that you would want persons to refer to, so that we know when they pay a truck to dispose of the garbage, that is actually dumped where it is supposed to be dumped?
I am the individuals in Soufriere that normally transport construction waste. It's habitual of them not to even reach the landfill. Normally, when we have site users coming to the landfill and they are coming very often, that's how we identify what they're doing, and then we can put them on our waste haulers list, which they have to pay a fee for the license for a year. And that is, we normally don't do that with one-off individuals, but individuals that comes there frequently. But for Soufriere, it's quite different. They are found many ways to illegally dump their waste. I mean, recently we had a place at Crestlands. It was two areas. One beneath the comprehensive school, which was really affecting the school because of course domino effect, waste has been dumped there, and then now rodents are in the school and it's affecting the school, the kitchen, everything. So that has been cleared, and the chain is, I guess, it's been locked now. So the entrance has been locked and a sign was erected. So I've not had issues there for quite some time, quite a few months.
Okay.
And then the other place where is by the housing development up there. And it's an open area, sadly. So it's not like we have a chain like beneath the secondary school. So that one was a bit more difficult and ticklish. And although I did get some funds from solid waste, and we did do a cleanup and transported the waste to the site, and there were even derelict vehicles there as well, shells, and we erected a sign. Now, having those two places at Crescent, what it does, it forces me to go there every week. So if I come to Soufriere twice a week, I go there twice a week to ensure that nothing else is happening there besides the state we have left it in. And that poses a bit of pressure sometimes because there are other things to remedy, there are other things to look at, there are other initiatives. And then you find that I have to keep monitoring because I just don't know. Because what I realize in Soufriere, you go to Crestlands, that okay, we clean, we erect the sign, people no longer go there, they find somewhere new. And you go by the housing development. As soon as I was done with the housing development and the cleaning was done and the sign was erected, I got another call for Crestlands. That's in after the spa bay, the bay spa, right. Auto spa. So I got another call that this area was now being utilized. So the gentleman in question that I found out he was the one placing the stuff there, I gave him a period of time to remove the stuff I felt that, like the construction waste and some very, very big logs. He stated that it was for charcoal, and he did remove them. And then I placed a sign, a smaller one than the other two that I'd placed at Crescent. But the thing is that I'm always wondering, what are they doing now? Because these guys don't necessarily come to the landfill. So we do have I know we have an active list. I don't think anybody from Soufriere is on that list.
The reason why I asked is because personally, I know we had a situation in my family where we hired somebody who had a truck to take some garbage to the landfill. And if he charged, let's say he charged my aunt $350, my aunt paid him more than he asked for. He drove in the direction of Beaufort, so he went up Church Street. And a week later, my aunt is getting, I got a call because they were trying to trace who was responsible. I'm getting a call saying, Nadia, somebody in your family must have paid for some garbage to be disposed of, and we're finding that it was dumped of a cliff in Bhutan. And I was pissed royally. I basically told them, this is who we paid. You can charge them the full fine, $5,000, because that's nonsense.
Yes.
You cannot tell me persons are paying for garbage to be disposed of at the landfill. You gave them a high price. They paid you extra. And then you are now turning around and going to dump the garbage off of a cliff.
That happens
And I
a
can
lot.
tell you, I know of another house that was cleared in new development after somebody passed away. The person came from the US, paid a truck a pretty sum of money to dispose of the garbage, and it never made its way down to the landfill either. So these persons, I'm at a point where if I find and anybody reports, solid waste needs to start really applying the maximum fine for that to change.
I totally agree.
They all need to start applying the maximum fine, and if the police need to get involved, bring the police on board. And I would rather like to have to hold a meeting with those persons who we know have trucks and who render that service, so that we have a meeting with them under this project to inform them that as of X date, you all will start imposing any fines. They need to pay the license. How much is the license that they need to pay?
How much is the license? Is it 150? I'm not too sure. 150?
It's
I'm
cheap.
not too sure.
It's like
It's
150
yeah,
ECM
between
a
100
year.
and 150.
For the year.
Yes, for the year.
To dispose of your garbage where it's supposed to go. I mean, people are paying you for the service. You need to render the service and stop littering, because during our community consultations, when I went to the Chateau Bel Air community, the residents there complained bitterly that the water catchment for Chateau Bel Air is at Chateau Bel Air, and that water is what feeds the Delsey catchment. So that water goes to Delsey, and that water is treated by Wasco, and then it's pumped back to Fonjolib area as well as Delsey. And there are a couple persons who have decided to use an area directly above the water catchment to dump their garbage. You know what that implies? The garbage, whatever is in there, when it starts leaching, seeping into the ground when it rains, is contaminating the
toxins.
spring, the water underground that Wasco is tapping.
Yes.
So 2 people, or if it is 5 persons, should not be affecting the health of hundreds of people downstream. So when you find them, charge them the full fine, giving them time to clean up. They've already caused the damage. They've already contaminated the water source. So we have to get to the point where all of Soufriere needs to be concerned about what is entering the river, what is entering the springs, where garbage is being dumped. Because it's not an issue, a simple issue of, oh, it's unsightly or it's just bringing rodents. It's creating a health issue.
There's a real health issue with waste being dumped in the river.
Because look at Soufriere Comprehensive. The school became overrun with rats.
It did.
Entering the kitchen,
It did.
entering the area where food preparation is being done for the school feeding program. So they had to dispose of quite a few bags of things that were bitten by the rats.
Yes.
You do not want to be transmitting leptospirosis to the children.
To the children.
In the river as well, who knows what chemicals are being dumped from batteries, from things, and that's flowing into the sea, and persons are bathing in the sea unknowingly, unsuspectingly.
Yes.
So we really need to, at this point, take a hard stand as residents in Soufriere that we want to ensure that our rivers from Fonjolib all the way down to Bhutan under this project are cleaned, are monitored, and when we find persons who are the culprits, do not be scared to contact St. Lucia Solid Waste Management Authority
at 724-5544 to make your complaints.
Say that again.
At 724-5544 to make your complaints.
If you don't want to call them, you can call me. 519-2425.
You can call me as well at 724-7414.
So you all have 3 numbers that you can call, or you can call the police directly. The Soufriere police station, I don't know the number offhand. I have it stored on my phone, but you can contact the Soufriere police and report. For me, I have had several persons report. I never say who called me, who contacted me.
I would really like to assure the residents of Soufriere that all your calls are, if you want your call to be based on anonymity, that will happen. When I follow up on investigations or complaints from individuals, I never go and say, Jane said. I come to you and I probably would say I got a complaint and that's it. They may try to figure out who it is, but that's not my job. My job is to try and resolve the complaint.
Exactly. So the issue is for us to get the river and eliminate sources of pollution in the Soufriere River, because it has reached a point where it is affecting our health collectively, and not just persons who live in the river or persons who walk or bathe in the river or persons who bathe in the sea. Whenever it affects, it's dumped on land, it rains, the water seeps down into the groundwater, and all our water in Soufriere is coming from springs. So if persons are dumping in the area where your water catchment is located, that is contaminating your water and you're not even aware. And under this project, we will be testing. And once the results come back, I will be letting the public know. We will be holding some public consultations for us to present the results for persons to know what is in the water that we are consuming. And it is not Wasco's fault. It is the fault of the persons who are contaminating the water.
I am very happy for this project because oftentimes you speak about illegal waste disposal and people think it's just garbage. So here you are presenting the domino effect of just garbage.
Definitely. It's not just garbage. It's not just looking unsightly. It breeds rodents, it breeds mosquitoes, it causes illnesses directly related to the rodents and the mosquitoes, but it also is affecting our groundwater sources. It is also affecting the water in the streams. It is affecting the health of the river. It is affecting the organisms that live in the river. It is affecting the fish in the river. Then it's affecting the birds that feed on the fish in the river. You never know. You're collecting rainwater at your home. It's affecting the birds defecate on. There's a domino effect. You bathe in the sea, definitely.
Yes.
And we are doing this project in Soufriere, and you'd be surprised at the number of persons who have found out about this project and approached me to ask, when is Waterways going to come to my community?
They are excited.
When is Waterways going to extend this project to where I live or where I work?
That's out of Soufriere.
That's out of Soufriere. I've had persons asking me for persons who live in Choiseul, in Vieux-Fort, in Castries, in Dennery. When is Waterways going to continue and come to their area? So for us, we are doing this as the first leg, I guess the first phase in Soufriere, and we want the public to come on board. And the lines remain open for anybody who wants to call, who have any comments to make. The numbers are 459-7885, 459-7885, 730-5388. You can call on WhatsApp on 730-5388, and you can call direct 459-7885, or you can also send us a message on WhatsApp or on the live stream that we have on Facebook. So we have a comment from Sheldon, and Sheldon, you need to contact me, because you have not claimed your prize from 2 weeks ago. And his comment is, or his question is, do you have accept or how do you dispose of animal waste? There was a situation recently where some animal intestines were left by a river. For the dead animals, does Solid Waste have any plan or any procedure for persons who want to dispose of dead animals?
Dead animals or animal waste? We do pick up dead animals. Cats, dogs, roadkill. But if somebody has a dead animal from their home, a dog or a cat, and they bring it to the truck, it will be accepted. But for what he's speaking about, what was left by the river, the person can either bring this thing to the site themselves, because the farmers when I was an attendant at Bexon, the farmers used to bring them in all the time, or they can bury them. We would not make special arrangements for the farmers in that regard. The special arrangement is the landfill is open and they have access to come and bring them in.
Right. Because
Yeah.
I know at the landfill, the persons who are into commercial livestock farming, they dispose of after they have
Yes, they do.
butchered the
Yes, they do.
animals. They take it
Yes.
to the landfill and it is
Yes.
buried there. So for somebody to butcher an animal and to
And
just
leave
leave
it
the intestines there,
by the river.
I would not be buying any meat from you if I know that's the practice that you're engaging in. Burying, it takes nothing for you to dig a hole and dump the
Correct.
remains in there.
Yeah.
If you are operating a large facility, then for sure you can make arrangements for you to put those things in the metal bin and take them to the landfill on
That's
your
right.
own, because you're making money from selling the parts of the animal that you've butchered. Likewise, if persons, I remember there was one instance where there was a dead cow that was dumped in the river.
Mm-hmm.
A dead cow dumped in the river. I'm like, if you own a cow and it dies, why are you dumping it into the river?
They have to
You
take
should
care of
make
it.
arrangements for you to transport that cow to the landfill.
Yes.
And that cow made its way downstream and it was floating. And I used to work at the SMMA at the time. And we got a call from some of the persons who have vessels. So the speedboat operators, the tour operators, calling us, telling us there's a cow floating. Before it bursts, you all need to do something. And so imagine having to task my rangers at the time to find a way to sink a cow that was bloated.
Sink it
Yes.
into the.
To sink it, because
That was the
it was
only
already
way.
that was the only way. It was already bloated, so that it would not nobody would not run over it, or that it would not come back to shore and explode and create a problem on the beach. So
So it went down river stream
it
into
went
the ocean.
down into the sea, from
Okay.
the river into the sea, and it was, I mean, it was dead. It was decomposing. When any animal is decomposing, there's gas. It would be bloated. So it ended up that the rangers were trying to tie the legs of the cow with some weights, with some stones, to see if that would
That
bring it
must
down.
have been a
That
daunting
was,
task.
let me tell you, we were watching to see if that cow would explode on us.
Yeah, that must have been a daunting task.
That is not nice. I mean, you want to dispose of your animal, and now you're creating a problem for somebody else. That's not their job. That's not the ranger's job to try and sink a cow that is floating in the sea, that somebody decided to dump in the river. So creating one problem for somebody else when that cow belongs to you, that's unfair, that is unethical, and persons should not be doing that. I mean, if you have an animal that dies, find a way to transport it to the landfill and for it to be buried appropriately. You do not have the land space for you to do that yourself.
I think some of the issues too is when the waste is being disposed. I mean, in your aunt's case, there must have been something that led back to her. Maybe a receipt.
Yes, it was
maybe
some
document in
letters
there
that they found that had my aunt's name.
But in some cases, you rarely ever get who's responsible.
Identifying.
Yes, no identified markers. Maybe it's construction waste. You cannot identify galvanized and plywood and say it belongs to John. And that's one of the most difficult things. Even in the recent case when we spoke about the riverbank, even in you trying to ask who, where, why, nobody is saying anything. But it
Yes.
bothers them, but they don't say anything. And I think that's one of the most difficult tasks because we never know who's doing what.
Yes. We also have an issue where we, other than, like you said, persons not being willing to speak out, we also have an issue where persons suffer silently. They are being affected by somebody doing something alongside their home or where they live. It's affecting them, and they choose. They're scared to speak out.
Yes.
I guess they do not want to be the ones who are targeted for
Yes.
for reporting.
Yes.
But like we said earlier, if you call Zonal Solid Waste Management Authority, you are guaranteed anonymity if you
Yes.
do not want anybody to target you. So you can call to report and your name is kept out of it.
To add to that, when you call to report 7245544 and you're speaking to the officer, you will, if the officer asks you, he or she will ask you your name. When your name is asked, and you can say, I do not want to give your name. So when I am viewing that complaint because that complaint will be logged, when I'm viewing that complaint, I will only see member of the public. So I will never know it's you, it's John, it's Jane, it's Jim. I'll see member of the public.
So you're all aware of that. So you all heard that from the Solid Waste Management Authority Zonal Supervisor. When she sees the report, it has no name. It just says member of the public. So when you call to report to solid waste, if you choose not to give your name is not going to be attached to the report. So I want to encourage persons who have situations or they are aware of cases where persons are dumping that you can call to make the reports so that we can all work together collectively. This is one way you can play your part in helping us keep the river clean. And since we're at the end of our show, I promised you that at the end of every show, we are going to have a giveaway. And for today's giveaway, we have a little gift bag to give away. And the question for today, I'm going to give us a couple of minutes for persons to answer. If you can call in or you can type, you can WhatsApp. How many persons have signed the charter online as of right now? If you can tell me how many persons have signed the charter right now, you will win yourself a small gift bag with some prizes in there. And the lines are open for 597-885 as well as 730-5388. Again, the numbers are 459-7885, or you can call on WhatsApp 730-5388. As of today, right now, how many persons have signed the charter for the management of the Soufriere River? If you can tell me how many persons have signed online, you will win a gift bag from Flowing Clean. And Mr. Sheldon Lionel, if you're still following, if you're still with us, please message us that we can contact you for your prize for 2 weeks ago. Let's see if anybody is going to call in for that prize.
In the meantime, people are Soufriere, considering that you all have a 2-day-a-week residential collection, 1 day a month bulk collection. We have the town council doing street cleaning. We have the NCA doing beach cleaning. There's absolutely no reason why Soufriere should have so many illegal dumping areas. We must do better.
I agree. Soufriere residents, we need to do better for our health, for our community, and for our children. We need to do better. So far, I'm not seeing the lines blinking. I'm going to, if nobody calls, leave that prize for next week. So far, that means persons will need to know the website to go to, the link to go to for you to find it. If you go on our Waterways Facebook page, you will get the link for the charter. If you have not yet signed the charter, please do so. The charter is still going around with businesses in Soufriere who have agreed to get the staff to sign. So last week we actually had a manager's cocktail, and some businesses did take some signature sheets on the charter to their business places for persons to sign. So we will.
So that's manual signage.
That's manual signing, and also if you're not able to get to sign it on the hard copy, the hard paper, we have the online version where persons can sign on. So I'm going to post the link again in the chat when the show ends. And then next week, we are going to ask that same question. Next week, we will have 2 questions for 2 more prizes for persons to get people to call in, to get us to have more interaction with the public, for them to ask questions about the project if they want to interact with the guests when we bring them on. It's a pity nobody would be calling in right now because we have Mrs. Peter right here. Oh, we have Ms. Jean-Philippe asking, good morning, on what day of the month is the bulk waste pickup?
The bulk waste collection is the second Wednesday of every month. And we say second Wednesday of every month because the second Wednesday could mean various dates. So the second Wednesday of every month.
So to repeat that for everybody listening, the bulk waste pickup day for Soufriere is the second Wednesday in every month. So every second Wednesday is the day that you should be putting your garbage, your bulk waste garbage out for pickup.
Each resident is allowed 2 pieces per household. Because we have to service the whole of Soufriere, so we can't give any more than 2 pieces.
So 2 pieces of bulk waste. So if you have a stove on the fridge you want to put out the stove on the fridge.
Yes.
And I know typically around Christmas time you'll get a lot of bulk waste.
Yes. It will start trickling in from maybe the end of September into October, but November and December will peak.
So if you know that you have some stuff and you want to clear it out, you don't have to wait until the end. And I know some processes when your fridge goes bad, then you would put it out. So that's inevitable. But if you know that there are some things that you want to get rid of, don't wait until the December or November when it is a lot more waste for them to pick up. So the second Wednesday of every month. And let's hear the phone number again for the call-in.
The phone number for the complaints, 724-5544. And my work number is 724-7414.
So let me say thank you very much to Mrs. Cristal Smith-Peter for joining us today on Flowing Clean. I am very happy that you could join us and to have this conversation with us. And thank you very much for being on our committee to help us implement this Flowing Clean project. I want to thank all those who are listening, whether you are listening at home. We have a question from Sheldon Lionel. What about derelict vehicles? How successful was it in your area in getting rid of the derelict vehicles?
In my area, he means Soufriere?
Soufriere, yes.
It was really good. From the time we did the stint with the police came on board and they went with us to do the tagging, because at times when you're tagging a vehicle, sometimes the owner can be a bit hesitant and sometimes they become irate, But we did the stint with the police, so we went around and we did the tagging with them, and that built a relationship. So no matter when I remove derelict vehicles, I can always liaise with the police for difficult residents, and they would come. They would send somebody. So already, Inspector Rene, both of us, very good working relationship. So I could just call him. He's the inspector for both Soufriere and Sozel.
Yes.
So I could call him for those 2 areas, and I liaise with the sergeant or in Labrie and then the one in Conrays. So on the West Coast, I've had a wonderful relationship with them, and we removed derelict vehicle with ease. I want to do another drive coming soon.
Okay.
Yes.
So thank you very, very much again for joining us. And I would say, please play your part. If you have not signed the charter, go online and sign the charter. I will post the link very shortly. And keep that in mind so that when we ask the question next week, you would have the link readily available and to click on it and tell us how many persons have signed the charter. So thank you again, Ms. Peter, for joining us. And thank you for listening in. Have a wonderful rest of the day and a wonderful rest of the week.
I beg you, please keep the river clean. No more trash in the water, keep the river clean.